The school hallway was a battlefield, a place where every step felt like a march into enemy territory. Every day I braced myself for the taunts, the shoves, the laughter echoing at my back. It was a relentless cycle, a daily ritual of humiliation that seemed to have no end. They called me names I tried to forget, pulled at my clothes, tripped me in the crowded corridors. Each insult, each shove, was a reminder of my place in their cruel hierarchy. Their faces blurred into a sea of cruelty, but the ringleader, a girl with eyes like chips of ice, remained etched in my memory. Her cold stare was a constant presence, a reminder of the power she held over me. She was a phantom, haunting my every step, turning my childhood into a nightmare I couldn't wake up from. Her influence was pervasive, seeping into every aspect of my life. For years I carried the weight of those memories. They were like heavy chains, dragging me down, making it hard to move forward. Her face, etched into my mind, became a symbol of my own perceived weakness. I saw her in my dreams, in my reflections, in every moment of doubt. The pain of those years followed me like a shadow, dimming my spirit, making me doubt my own worth. It was a constant companion, whispering lies about my value. I longed to escape the past, to outrun the echoing laughter and hurtful words, but the fear, the vulnerability lingered. It was as if the past had a grip on my present, refusing to let go. It wasn't just the physical bullying, though the bruises faded. The emotional scars, however, were much harder to heal. It was the way they made me feel, small, insignificant, utterly alone, like I didn't matter, like my existence was a mistake, like my voice didn't deserve to be heard. I felt silenced, my words trapped in my throat, unable to break free. Their words cut deep, leaving invisible scars that ached long after the playground battles ended. The pain was a constant reminder of my perceived inadequacy. I sought solace in books, in stories where good triumphed over evil, where the underdog found their voice. These stories were my escape, my refuge from the harsh reality of my life. I filled my world with words, with characters who were brave and strong, hoping some of their resilience would seep into me. I wanted to believe that I, too, could be strong, that I could overcome the shadows of my past. I dreamed of a day when I would no longer be that scared girl in the school hallway, when I could finally look back without flinching. I imagined a future where I could walk with my head held high, unafraid of the shadows that once haunted me. Meeting Liam was like finding sunshine after a lifetime of rain. It was as if the clouds that had loomed over my life for so long had finally parted, allowing the warmth and light to seep into every corner of my being. He was kind, funny, and saw me, truly saw me, not the shy, insecure girl I'd been. He saw beyond the facade I had built to protect myself from the world, recognizing the person I was beneath all the layers of doubt and fear. With him, I felt safe, cherished. It was a feeling I had never known before, a sense of belonging that wrapped around me like a comforting blanket on a cold winter's night. He made me laugh, encouraged my dreams, and loved me with a fierceness that melted the fear that had encased my heart for so long. His unwavering support gave me the courage to pursue my passions, to believe in myself in ways I never thought possible. He brought light into my life, chased away the shadows of the past with his warmth and unwavering belief in me. His presence was a beacon, guiding me through the darkest times and illuminating the path to a brighter future. For the first time in my life, I felt truly happy, the fear and insecurity fading with each shared smile, each stolen kiss. Every moment with him was a reminder that I was worthy of love and happiness. Being with him was like coming home after a long, arduous journey. It was a feeling of peace and contentment that I'd longed for, a sense of finally being where I was meant to be. Our love story unfolded organically, a tapestry woven with laughter, shared dreams, and quiet moments of intimacy. Each day brought new adventures, new memories that we cherished and held close to our hearts. He met my vulnerabilities with tenderness, my insecurities with reassurance. His gentle touch and kind words were a balm to my soul, healing the wounds that had festered for so long. He taught me to trust again, to believe in the power of love to heal even the deepest wounds. His love was a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, a reminder that even the most broken hearts can be mended. The thought of meeting his family filled me with nervous anticipation. I wanted so desperately to make a good impression, to show them the person I had become with Liam by my side. I yearned to be welcomed into his life, to share the joy of our love with those he held dear. I imagined family gatherings filled with laughter and warmth, a new chapter in our love story that we would write together. Little did I know, fate had a cruel twist in store, a reunion that would dredge up the buried pain of my past and test the very foundations of our love. It was a moment that would challenge everything we had built together, forcing us to confront the ghosts that had haunted me for so long. The doorbell rang, a cheerful sound that did little to ease the flutter of nerves in my stomach. Liam was squeezing my hand, his face alight with excitement. "Ready to meet the family?" he asked, his eyes crinkling at the corners. I managed a shaky smile, my insides twisting with a foreboding I couldn't quite place. The woman who opened the door was the embodiment of warmth and welcome. Her smile was genuine, her eyes crinkling in a way that reminded me so much of Liam's. "You must be Sarah," she said, pulling me into a hug that was surprisingly comforting. "Liam has told us so much about you." And then, it hit me. The way her eyes, though crinkled with warmth, held a familiar glint of ice. The faint scar above her eyebrow, a scar I remembered from a particularly vicious playground encounter. The way her smile didn't quite reach her eyes, a coldness lurking beneath the surface. This woman, this kind, welcoming woman, was her. The bully who had made my childhood a living hell. The room seemed to shrink, the air thickening with unspoken tension. Every breath felt like a struggle, as if the very atmosphere was conspiring to suffocate me. The walls, once distant and unassuming, now loomed ominously, pressing in on all sides. It was as if the room itself was alive, feeding off the anxiety that permeated the air. My breath caught in my throat, my past colliding with my present in the most terrifying way. Memories I had long buried surged to the surface, each one more painful than the last. The faces around me blurred, their expressions of concern and confusion only adding to my growing sense of dread. Liam's mum, oblivious to my inner turmoil, continued chatting, her voice a distant drone in my ears. Her words, though meant to be comforting, felt like daggers, each one piercing deeper into my already fragile psyche. I could see her lips moving, but the sound seemed to come from far away, as if I were underwater. I forced a smile, my mind racing, trying to reconcile the woman before me with the spectre that haunted my memories. How could she be so unaware of the pain she had caused? The disconnect between her cheerful demeanor and the torment she had inflicted was almost too much to bear. How could this be happening? The question echoed in my mind, a relentless mantra that refused to be silenced. Every fiber of my being screamed for me to run, to escape this nightmare, but I was rooted to the spot, paralyzed by fear and confusion. It felt surreal, like a nightmare I couldn't wake up from. The room, the people, the very air around me seemed to warp and twist, distorting reality into a grotesque parody of itself. I blinked rapidly, hoping to dispel the illusion, but it only grew stronger, more oppressive. The past, so carefully buried, rose up to engulf me, threatening to destroy the fragile peace I had found. Each memory was a wave, crashing over me with relentless force, dragging me deeper into the abyss. I could see the younger version of myself, scared and vulnerable, and the pain was almost too much to bear. I felt betrayed by Liam's obliviousness, by fate's cruel hand, but most of all by my own memories, which now seemed sharper, more vivid than ever. The betrayal cut deep, a wound that refused to heal, festering with each passing moment. How could I have been so blind, so naive to think that I could escape my past? The evening stretched on, an agonizing charade of forced smiles and polite conversation. Each word, each gesture felt like a performance, a desperate attempt to maintain the facade of normalcy. But beneath the surface, the tension simmered, threatening to boil over at any moment. I felt Liam's eyes on me, his confusion growing with every passing moment. He could sense that something was wrong, but he didn't know the full extent of the turmoil raging inside me. His concern was palpable, a silent plea for me to let him in, to share my burden. I couldn't bring myself to meet his gaze, couldn't bear to see the question reflected in his eyes. The weight of his unspoken words was too much to bear, a crushing pressure that threatened to break me. I looked down, focusing on the table, the food, anything to avoid his piercing stare. The food sat heavy in my stomach, each bite a monumental effort. It was as if my body was rejecting the very act of eating, a physical manifestation of the emotional turmoil within. I pushed the food around my plate, the once appetizing meal now a tasteless, unappealing mess. I was trapped, caught in a web of my own making. Every decision, every action had led me to this moment, and now there was no escape. The walls closed in, the room grew smaller, and I felt the weight of my choices bearing down on me. How could I tell Liam that the woman he loved, the woman who had welcomed me with open arms, was the very same person who had tormented me for years? The thought was unbearable, a cruel twist of fate that seemed almost too cruel to be real. I could see the love in his eyes, the admiration he held for his mother, and the thought of shattering that image was more than I could bear. The thought of shattering his image of his mother, of causing a rift in their relationship, was unbearable. I knew that once the truth was out, there would be no going back. The bond they shared would be forever changed, tainted by the knowledge of her past actions. And I would be the one responsible for that change, the one who brought their world crashing down.